Well, no author has woven themselves into the consciousness of popular culture quite like Stephen King, and today I'm going to be ranking his film adaptations from the best of the best all the way down to dog shit. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Nick Push. We got a fun tier list today. Going to be talking Stephen King movies. I got some categories here of film adaptations that I want to talk about. It's going to be basically all of Stephen King's work that has been turned into films. So we got mostly horror movies, some non-horror movies. Either way, this is going to be fun. Yeah, let's get right into this. Categories here are best of the best. I'm going to try to keep this light. You know, I see people with tier lists sometimes and they have 50% of what they put on there as the top tier. It's not really the top then, is it? So I'm going to try to be deliberate with what I put on the best of the best. After that, we got great. Then we got good. Then we got fun, but just okay. You know, these are some of the guilty pleasure movies. And then finally, we got dog shit. I will admit, I've seen probably 85 to 90% of the movies on this list. This is not a tier list that I created. So if I haven't seen one, I'll just throw it somewhere where I think it should go. So let's get right into this. We're starting out with a movie I haven't seen called Desperation. You know, we're gonna put that. We're gonna put it in fun, but just okay. Okay. Let's get to a movie I have seen. We're talking Carrie. I think it came out in 1976, directed by Brian De Palma. Carrie. It was the first Stephen King adaptation, if I'm not mistaken. I stand to be corrected on that. But Carrie's going to go all the way up to great. I can't put it quite to best of the best, although I would not argue with anyone that put it up there. But there's a reason why, after Brian De Palma directed Carrie, that Stephen King's work, you know, the adaptation of his work, you know, skyrocketed up into the 80s because Carrie is a great fucking movie. Great performance by Sissy Spacek, and just the whole story of a girl with telekinetic powers being bullied, and you know, it is an iconic, and I don't use that word lightly, an iconic film. You know, especially the scene with the blood at the prom. I think it was the prom, right? Anyway, Carrie is a great movie. Next, we have Gerald's Game, one of the more recent-ish ones of his. This is an interesting movie. It's another Mike Flanagan movie. Flanagan's good with Stephen King stuff. You get great performances all around. It's a tough movie. They never thought they'd be able to adapt this into a film, but you know, enter Mike Flanagan, right? I'm gonna say this is good. I don't want to put it in the same category as Carrie because I don't think it's that good, but it is good. It's intense, and there's some crazy shit that happens in this. If you haven't seen Gerald's Game, I would encourage you to see it. Next, we got 1408, starring Sam Jackson and most significantly John Cusack, who plays the main character. It's about a writer that basically goes to a haunted hotel to write about it, and there's all kinds of different things he encounters, some personal demons he has to get over. I'm going to say this movie is fun, but just okay. I remember seeing this in the theater the last night of a vacation with a best friend of mine. We didn't want to be... we were driving home from Miami. We were driving from Miami all the way to Wisconsin, straight through, and we didn't want to be hungover on the drive. So we're like, what do we do? We're gonna drink if we don't do something that's non-drinking related. So we went and saw 1408, and it was good. It was good, but I'd probably put it more in the fun but just okay category. I think a lot of Stephen King movies that are not very good sometimes are still fun enough, you know, or they have some nostalgia where we can still get some enjoyment out of it. And that's what I feel about 1408. All right, Children of the Corn. You say that and it seems iconic, right? You know, saying Children of the Corn. You know, I don't think it's iconic. I have a lot of nostalgia with this. It creeped me out as a kid. It's got Linda Hamilton right before Terminator. Might have been the same year as Terminator, actually. Malachi, all kinds of crazy shit. It's a cool premise. The imagery of the movie is cool. It's got a very creepy vibe to it. It feels like Stephen King, right? I'll probably be saying that a lot. But this is not a good movie. I just watched it again relatively recently, and it did not hold up well. I think all the enjoyment I had of it was either the creepy atmosphere and just nostalgia. It's not a good movie at all. I'm not going to put it in dog shit, though. It's going to be another fun, but just okay. 1922. Never seen it. Never seen it. We're going to throw it in fun, but just okay. All right. The Dead Zone, starring Christopher Walken. This was actually a first time watch for me about 3 or 4 months ago. I always wanted to see it. I never got around to it. What I remembered about this movie, because I knew the premise, right? What I remember about this movie was a Saturday Night Live sketch, actually, with Christopher Walken. So the premise of the movie is Christopher Walken's character, Johnny Smith. He is involved in a car accident and is in a coma and wakes up years later. And all of a sudden he has these visions, right? He's helping detectives solve serial killer murders. When he touches someone, he can see if an accident's going to happen, if they're going to die, right? And he ends up, touching Martin Sheen's character, who plays a corrupt politician, who's going to start World War III, so he has to assassinate him, essentially. It's really bleak movie. But I remember a Saturday Night Live sketch where, it's great. Christopher Walken's, touches someone, and instead of saying when they're going to die, he says something like you're going to spill a cup of coffee. Something just minute and stuff like that. It's pretty good. But I really, really enjoyed The Dead Zone so much that I'm going to put it in great. I think it's a movie that needs to be talked about a lot more than it actually is. All right, next, we got Thinner, which is about this big, jolly, fat guy, except he's not jolly, he's kind of an asshole. And he kills on accident, via roadhead, actually. He kills a old gypsy lady, and then he's cursed by her husband, by these gypsies, where he starts dying by losing weight. It came out in the 90s, I want to believe, or I want to say. I stand to be corrected on that. This was another first-time watch for me relatively recently, just like The Dead Zone. And I have to say, I enjoyed it. It wasn't great. Not a great movie, but I'm going to put it in the good category. Next, we have Christine. This is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. John Carpenter and Stephen King come together. The car of Christine is a character. The score is a character. Arnie Cunningham is a great character. I fucking love this movie. I'm putting this up in the best of the best. Stephen King might have John Carpenter to thank for that. You guys know me. I'm a big Carpenter guy. Christine, I think, is one of his best works for both Stephen King and John Carpenter. Love that movie. All right, next, we have Maximum Overdrive. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the movie that Stephen King directed. I think it might be the only movie he directed. And you can tell, because this movie's dog shit. Never liked this movie at all. I think it's terrible. So, Maximum Overdrive, the first Stephen King movie, that is dog shit. Next, we have Cell, bringing back John Cusack and Sam Jackson. Another movie that I think is, it's fun, but just okay. It's teetering close to dog shit for me. I've only seen it once, and to be honest, I don't really have much to say about it. So I don't even know how fun it is, but it's more just okay. So we'll put it in that category. Next, we have The Shining. This movie is dog shit. I'm kidding, guys. This is clearly the best of the best. Obviously, we might have Kubrick to thank for that more than King, but this is King's work, right? Stanley Kubrick, adapted it, much to the chagrin of Stephen King, adapted it how he saw fit, right? But this is a fucking fantastic movie. I've reviewed The Shining. I've talked about The Shining ad nauseum. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, I would suggest you go find that video. But for me, it doesn't get any better than The Shining. It's probably my favorite Stephen King adaptation. Next, we have Creepshow. I don't even know if I'd really call this an adaptation because this is more of a collaboration with George Romero. It's good. I think Creepshow gets more credit than it deserves, but it's good enough. It's definitely good enough. Next, we have Secret Window with Johnny Depp. This is a good movie. I think it came out in 2004. Another one where he's a writer, right? And he has to kind of battle his own personal demons, and there's a nice twist at the end. It's good. It's back when Depp was cool. But some will say he's always been cool. I get that. But this is kind of the height of Johnny Depp. For me, this is a good movie. Not great, but good. Next, we have Dreamcatcher. I'm not a big fan of this movie, but I don't think it's dog shit. So we're gonna put it in fun, but just okay. All right, next. See, some of these I have a lot to talk about. Some of them I just don't. Because a lot of his work that I don't rewatch a lot. I just they don't do it for me. But there's so many adaptations of Stephen King that I love. Even ones that are not great that I love, that I rewatch all the time. That being said, before I get to the next movie, tell me in the comments, guys. Tell me your favorite Stephen King adaptation or your favorite handful, or tell me what I got right. Tell me what I got wrong. I love to hear your guys' opinion, and I appreciate the comments on the videos. All right, let's get right into the next one, which is Salem's Lot TV miniseries, which Stephen King's had a few TV miniseries. Salem's Lot is just so good. It's so good. It's not quite best of the best, though. It's in the great category for me, right along with Carrie and The Dead Zone. This is a movie I really want to rewatch. I can't find it anywhere. But I've seen it enough times when I was younger to know that it belongs in the great category. Just the story, of, was it Ben Mears? Is that his name? It might not be Ben Mears, but I think it's Mears. Going back to his hometown, and there's vampires, and, the little boy outside the window let me in. Oh, it's so creepy. Very well done. I think Tobe Hooper directed this, if I'm not mistaken. But Salem's Lot is definitely great. Next, we have one of the more underrated Stephen King movies, in my opinion, and that is Dolores Claiborne. That's right, the Kathy Bates one, but not that Kathy Bates one. Also stars Jennifer Jason Leigh. This is a great character study between the dynamic of Jennifer Jason Leigh's character and her mother, played by Kathy Bates, and it delves into abuse and men versus women. I think it's really, really, really well done. If you can buy into the characters, buy into the relationships between those characters, I really like this movie. I'm putting it in great. Like that's how much I enjoyed this movie. I think it needs more attention. All right, next we got Sleepwalkers. This is another movie it's fun, but it's just okay. I don't really have too much to say about this movie. Next, Silver Bullet. Werewolf movie starring Corey Haim, who's in a wheelchair. I love this movie. I fucking love this movie. I was a little late to the game on it. But this movie is definitely in the great category for me. This is another one of those movies that I always want to rewatch. It's a movie that if I see on TV, not that I really watch television per se anymore, but if I see on TV, I will always finish it. Is it an amazing movie, by technical standards and, thematic stories? No. But it's enjoyable, and I buy into the relationship between Corey Haim and his uncle, played by Gary Busey, and obviously the pastor being the werewolf. It's just great all around. It's a fun movie. So yeah, Silver Bullet is great in my eyes. Next, we got The Running Man, which is, I think, a very short Stephen King movie, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, about a guy that is on a game show running for his life, essentially. Something that, is more relevant now than it was when it came out, which I believe was like 1987, somewhere around there. The Running Man is a good movie. I am not going to put it in the great category, but it's a good movie. I like the movie. Next, we got Hearts of Atlantis. Not a fan. I think it's dog shit. I think Anthony Hopkins is an amazing actor. I don't think this is his best performance. Other than that, I couldn't buy into the story of this movie. All right, next we have Cat's Eye. Cat's Eye is an interesting movie. It's not good at all. It's about this cat that kind of weaves its way into 3 different short anthology stories. James Woods is in there. It's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But it's one of those fun movies that's just okay. So we're putting it in fun, but just okay. Next one, we have The Shawshank Redemption. A movie that was not critically acclaimed. Came out the same year as Forrest Gump in 94. Not critically acclaimed, directed by Frank Darabont, who's directed many of Stephen King's works. Um, TNT really, and TBS, whatever, cable TV saved this movie. It was always on, and it's fucking incredible. There's a reason why this movie has created kind of a life of its own, and it's always talked about as one of the greatest movies of all time. It's best of the best for me. I am like everyone else, where I really enjoy The Shawshank Redemption. All right, next we got Graveyard Shift, a movie that a lot of people point to as just shit. For me, it ain't dog shit. I'm telling you right now. Graveyard Shift is not a good movie. It's about a guy that's working in like some textile mill, some new guy, some drifter or some shit like that, right? And there's like a killer bat or killer rat down there, some huge thing killing people. It's good, hokey, 80s Stephen King fun. So it's fun, but just okay for me. Next, we have Firestarter, another movie that kind of, I see a lot of hit or misses on this. I know it was remade. Haven't seen the remake. This is the one with Drew Barrymore. I'm going to call this is another fun, but just okay. Next, we got Lawnmower Man. This dog shit. Terrible movie. Absolutely terrible movie. There's not really much to say about it. I've seen it once. It was stupid. Maybe I'll try to rewatch it at some point. But for now, at this point in my life, in October 2023, for me, it's dog shit. Next, we got, I don't even know what that is, The Mangler? Haven't seen this one. We're going to leave it there. Can I put it to the end here? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do this. We're going to keep going, and I'm going to put the ones that I haven't seen to the end. I think that's the best way to do this. So what other ones have I not seen? Cell I saw, Dreamcatcher. I think that's it. I think that is it. Okay. Next, we got Dark Half. Haven't seen that. Next, we got Apt Pupil. This is an interesting one. Another one where I don't have a ton to say about it, but I don't think it's dog shit. I have to rewatch it. This is going to be the fun, but just okay. Next is Needful Things. I believe this stars what's-his-face from The Rock. And all kinds of, he's in all kinds of shit. I can't think of his name offhand. Ed Harris, yes. Needful Things is another one that's in the Castle Rock universe. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's anything to write home about. I don't even think it's close to the great category, but it's also not just okay movie. Needful Things, it's a good movie. I would encourage you to check it out if you haven't seen it. Next, Riding the Bullet. Haven't seen that. Creepshow 2. Haven't seen that. Now we're getting to a handful that I haven't seen here. Haven't seen that one. All right, Pet Sematary. The original from, was it 89 or 87? Pet Sematary might be the bleakest movie on this list, and there's a lot of bleak movies. I was already talking about The Dead Zone. I was talking about all sorts of movies, and there's a few here to come that are definitely bleak as well. For me, Pet Sematary is all the way up to best of the best. I love, just kind of the tone of this movie. It's dark. It's about death. It's about facing our own mortalities. It's about grief. And it's extremely fucking effective and well done. There's so much imagery in this movie that it just burns in your brain. And this is a movie you think about after you've watched it. All right, I'm going to move a few of these other ones I haven't seen so I know when I get to The Mangler that is where I'm going to end. I think that might be it for me here as far as movies I haven't seen. Yeah, there's a chunk here that I haven't seen. They put a lot in here. All right, I think I'm good now. I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 left. Okay, next. Let's get to next. Stand By Me, a movie, a coming-of-age story. A hell of a cast of kids in this movie. Kiefer Sutherland, Corey Feldman, on and on and on. It's an amazing, like I said, coming-of-age story directed by Rob Reiner. It does a great job. A lot of people put this in best of the best. For me, it's great, but it's not quite best of the best. Not just personal preference, right? for me, I think it's a tier below the other movies, and that's just because those are movies I enjoy a lot more. All right, next we got It. I'm gonna call this. It looks like this is It the remake. We'll call it Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. If this was just Chapter 1, if it was just Chapter 1, it'd be best of the best. But Chapter 2 drags it down. And there are plenty of reasons for that. The adult storyline, we're going to get into that with the OG from 1990. But the adult storyline in this tale is just never as interesting as the kids' storyline. But for me, the reason why it doesn't get best of the best, the reason why I'm talking about Chapter 2 not even being close to as good as Chapter 1, is just besides the CG, all the humor. There's and I love humor in horror movies. I'm not saying that, but there's a scene where Eddie gets like stabbed in the fucking throat or head or something, and then he kills Henry Bowers and he starts walking away, just blood gushing, and he says something about the guy's mullet. Oh, your mullet. And it's clearly said to make an audience in the theater laugh. And that's a big pet peeve of mine. And I don't think anyone that has a fucking knife in their gullet is going to crack a quip. Like, I don't buy that. I don't find it believable. But the good stuff from Chapter 1 was extremely well done. So the part I'm talking about, all the humor and the bullshit like that I'm talking about, and I know the ending of both these suck. But the Chapter 1, Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise, and all the kids, everything was fantastic. So for me, it's going to go in the great category. Pet Sematary 2, a ridiculous, terrible movie that I enjoy the fuck out of. It stars Edward Furlong, Clancy Brown. It is stupid. It is ridiculous. God damn it, is it fun. I can't put it in good, but I can't put it in dog shit either. Next, we get the Pet Sematary remake. I don't think this movie's as good as its fans say, but I don't think it's as bad as its detractors say. I think this is a good remake. I have some issues with some creative decisions and things like that. I like that they changed up a key aspect of the story. I like that. I like when remakes do that. But it's not even close to the original. I think it's a good movie, and I think that's where it belongs. All right, next we have It, the miniseries from 1990. The nostalgia in me tells me I should just automatically put this to the best of the best, but the realist in me tells me it doesn't belong there. I love this version. It is my favorite version. I like it better than the remake, even though the remake is probably better on many levels. But for me, I love Tim Curry, and I love just the ominous feeling throughout this movie. It feels creepy. The fact that it was made for TV really hurts it. But for me, I just enjoy this miniseries a lot. And so we're going to put it in the great category. Next, we have The Mist. Another one directed by Frank Darabont. He's got one more after this, too. The Mist is great. Obviously, if you've seen this, you remember the ending. Talk about bleak, right? Holy shit. It's these people trapped in a supermarket. A mist is out there, and there's these Lovecraftian creatures, grabbing people and trying to kill them. The one thing that holds it back for me is that the CG on these creatures is not very well done. I got a problem with that. It takes me out of it a little bit, but not enough where I don't like it. I think this is a really, really good movie, and I'm going to put it in the great category. Next, we have Misery from 1990, another Rob Reiner one. This is James Caan and, of course, Kathy Bates at their best, especially Kathy Bates. There's a reason she won an Academy Award for this. Misery goes all the way up to the best of the best. What a fucking great movie. I don't know what I can say about Misery that hasn't already been said. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen Misery, I would highly encourage you to watch the shit out of that. It is great. All right, 3 left, guys. I'm leaving the ones I haven't seen out of here. 3 left. Next, we got The Green Mile, the final Frank Darabont one on the list. Another prison movie, right? Tom Hanks. I can't remember the name of the other guy. Michael something, right? Really well movie. Really well movie. Really well done movie. I buy the relationship between Tom Hanks and the prisoner. I think it's great all around. A little long, A little long-winded in a lot of aspects too. You know, a lot of like Stephen King's books, right? But Green Mile is great. I'm not going to put it up in best of the best, but it's definitely great. All right, two more. The Dark Tower. I saw this in the theater, and holy cow, guys, did this movie suck. Dog shit. Dark Tower's dog shit. I like Idris Elba a lot in most everything he does. But this movie commits an ultimate sin for me. It's fucking boring. It's just absolutely boring, and it's not fun. Like, there's other movies on here that Dark Tower is probably better than. Movies I have ranked ahead of it. But it's not fun like those. All right, and finally, we have Cujo, movie that needs no introduction. You know, about a rabid dog gets bit, has rabies, Dee Wallace is being attacked, and her kid are being attacked by the dog, and it's just a harrowing tale full of atmosphere. But is it as good as people say it is? I don't think it is. I really don't. Now, I don't think it's bad. I still enjoy this movie, but Cujo, you know, just saying the name Cujo has been kind of replaces the word dog, right? It's like an adjective. You know, a crazy dog, that's Cujo. Or a mean dog, that's Cujo. You know, it's, like I said earlier, it's woven itself into the pop culture fabric where you know what Cujo is. It's like Kleenex, right? It's like another word for something, another word for a crazy dog. And I think the movie's good, but it ain't great. So Cujo, we're going to put in the good category. All right. So, as you can see, you got a lot of diverse lists, a lot in the middle. For me, the best of the best is going to be Christine, The Shining, Shawshank, Pet Sematary, and Misery. I think that's fair in my opinion. Tell me your opinion in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.